There will no doubt be elements in your layouts that need to be completely bespoke. Whether they're shapes or lines, we'll have to use something called the pen tool to generate those from scratch. We'll take a look at the technique for creating this embellishment that appears in Total Film magazine above the pull quotes. So back on pages 2 to 3, I'm going to zoom into where that pull quote is and get a good clear view of that area. Press the W key to turn on grids and guides, and then I'm going to switch first of all to my line tool and show you the quickest way to make a modification to the structure of a path. So with the line tool active, I'm going to go up to the top, make sure that of course I've got no fill active for my line that I'm going to draw. But in terms of the stroke, I'm going to change the color of this to be green to start off with. And that's because I want to show you the position of things called anchor points. And this color will make them stand out nice and clearly. I'll also make sure that the path weight at the moment is going to be set to 2 points. I'll hover my cursor level with the left edge of the pull quote and on the baseline. Click and hold down the mouse and drag across to the right hand side, holding the shift key down to make sure that I'm creating a perfectly horizontal line. Let go of the mouse, let go of the shift key. I'll zoom in to the portion where the D is in that pull quote. So every line that you make inside of InDesign is composed of 2 anchor points. It pins down the start and the end. And we can see one of them here on the far left hand side. We need to add additional anchor points to this line to be able to change its shape. Now to do that, I can switch to what's called the pen tool. You can reach it by tapping the P key on the keyboard. With this path now active, if I hover over, level with say the left edge of the letter D, notice now that the pen tool is informing me that I can add an additional anchor point in here with a left click and let go of the mouse. I'll then take my cursor across to the far, where I believe the far right edges of the letter D. And again, I see a plus, left click and let go. And that adds a second additional anchor point. I'm then going to hover my cursor in between the two and then left click and let go. That will add my third additional anchor point. Now, of course, the path doesn't change in appearance, and it won't until I reposition those anchor points. I'll need to switch to the direct selection tool to edit the position of those anchor points. You can hover over and left click on one of those anchor points, but you might find that actually you need to click and hold down the mouse and drag across just the middle anchor point. That one stays red, highlighted on screen. Now that red is the layer color that it lives in. The images layer in the layers panel. Notice the other anchor points, they show little white squares. The 2 that I added on the outside and the very end anchor point that was part of the original path is also white. That indicates that they are inactive. So with just this one visible on screen that's active, I can tap the down cursor key on the keyboard and that will move that anchor point down. And it gives me that appearance of a little arrowhead almost in that path and allows me to deform the shape of that line. When I've done that, I'll switch back to my selection tool. Now to match the brand guidelines, I need to change the color of that stroke to our red light, hit the return key. I will press the W key now to remove the grids and guides and just zoom out a touch. With that line still selected, we have in the control panel up at the top, different styles. These are referred to as types of lines that I can change this to. So if I wanted to have 2 thick lines, it will give me that appearance. But in the case of Total Film, it uses a thin line at the top and a thick line at the bottom. Now, if you don't like the overall weight of that line, you can go back up to the menu at the top and increase that, like so. Don't forget to just move that away by tapping the up cursor key on the keyboard to just move that away from the pull quote in there. And that's how you can create unique looking lines inside of InDesign, by starting off with the line tool and then just deforming the shape of it by adding additional anchor points with the pen tool.